I'm Marie from the Membership Events team, and I'm very delighted to welcome all of you here in the Lecture Theatre this evening, as well as those of you joining us online for a talk exploring the preservation of heritage and craftsmanship in contemporary jewellery design. Before we get started, I have a few housekeeping notes. Tonight's talk will be around 45 minutes, followed by time for questions. For those of you here in the room, we'll have microphones going around, and if you're joining us online, please feel free to submit your questions at any time using the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. For those of you in the lecture theatre, please do take a moment now to silence your phones, and we kindly ask that you avoid flash photography or video recording so everyone around you can enjoy the talk uninterrupted. And if you're with us in person, we hope that you'll join us afterwards for a drink downstairs in the Silver Galleries, where there will also be an opportunity to purchase Azza Fahmy's book. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce tonight's speakers. Azza Fahmy, founder and creative director of Azza Fahmy Jewellery, is a pioneering force in the world of design. Her journey began over 50 years ago with a passion for preserving traditional craftsmanship, and today her pieces are celebrated globally for their artistry and storytelling. She's joined by Fatma Ghaly, the CEO of Azza Fahmy Jewellery, who has played a transformative role in evolving the brand into an internationally recognized design house. And guiding the conversation tonight is Carol Woolton, a jewellery historian, former jewellery editor of British Vogue, and author of several books on the subject, including If Jewels Could Talk. So please join me in welcoming to the stage Azza Fahmy, Amina Ghaly, and Carol Woolton.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the V&A, and thank you for joining me this evening, because you're probably very excited, like I am, to be here with Azza Fahmy and Fatma Ghaly, who is Azza's daughter and the CEO of Azza Fahmy. Azza was the first woman to train in Egypt's quarter. She was an artisan, a true artisan, who overcame all the obstacles that women of that generation overcame in a man's profession to become one of the most recognized jewelers in the Arab world. And she was Egypt's first designer label. She's now widely known across the globe. She's named by the FT as one of the most influential businesswomen in the Middle East. Her jewelry is worn by some of the most glamorous women in the world, Queen Rania of Jordan, Naomi Campbell, Rihanna. And she's here. We're very lucky that she's here in London. She has contributed to the Making Egypt exhibition at the Young V&A, and she is launching her first flagship store in London. So we're very happy that she's here. She is what could be described as an intellectual jeweler. So tonight we're going to explore the woman behind the brand and her passion for translating culture into jewels with the aim of preserving ancient techniques and fusing traditional artistry with modern design, shaping a new future for jewelry. So welcome to London. And thank you for bringing the wonderful weather with you from Cairo. I wanted first to talk about your store that's in the new great Egyptian museum, the Gem Museum in Cairo, which is incredible. And I was so excited to see it this year. I traveled to see the museum and, of course, ran into Azza's store, which is there. And I felt that maybe that encapsulates you, the ancient part of Egypt, your modern store. And do you think that Egypt really is at the core of your inspiration?
Of course, of course. You know, I started like that, and not only old Egypt, because Egypt had many periods and many civilizations, but old Egypt is fantastic. Mm-hmm. And I want in my shop to reflect and people see old Egypt in a modern way.
Can everybody hear Azza at the back? Is that?
I have to
yes,
raise,
we need
I
to
have to raise my voice.
Yes. I think you need to raise your voice.
Okay.
They want to hear every word.
Okay. Okay, I want to reflect old Egypt in each part of the shop in a modern way, not the traditional way which we use it in the bazaar or on the market. It was a long journey with old Egypt.
So which of the kingdoms particularly inspired you?
I think Old Kingdom in Saqqara, it is the best. But you know, the Amarna is fascinating me when it is modernizing everything. Ikhnatum, you know, the flowers, the things. He went extremely modern. Each yes, the Middle Kingdom كمان has, you know, the jewelry in Middle Kingdom has beautiful pieces. Every period has its own beauty and own.
Do you think it got gradually more sophisticated? The craftsmanship, the gold work, the enameling?
No, I think from the beginning, the craftsmanship was there because there was a system in Old Egypt for training people. Like in Deir el-Madina, in West Bank, in Luxor, there is this is the school for craftspeople to learn how to do good figures, and the proportion of the figure is correct. It's actually, and there is a system when you see, there is ostrakas, which is, you know, this pieces of pottery, which they write everything and they register everything.
So they were how long do you think it took them to learn?
All the periods. يعني starting, I think, in Middle Kingdom up to the New Kingdom.
And which are the particular motifs that speak to you? Was it look at your ankh that you've got on your finger tonight. That's a huge ankh, the symbol of life.
Yeah, but you know, it's actually, maybe because the lotus, they did it in a very modern way. They have the lotus, which is sleep, and the lotus is half, and the lotus is that, and the lotus coming from the mud, and the lotus. The shapes of the lotus in Old Egypt was amazing. You heard me? My gosh, yeah. Amazing.
Well, it was almost a religious flower, wasn't it? That it meant so much to the ancient Egyptians. It meant life, didn't it? It meant the Nile, the water, and life.
And you know, I think that the artist, he didn't draw anything unless they know and there is a symbolism in it. Even if he put the feet like that, or he put the feet like that, and you shouldn't, because before I did my first collection, I have to study it for 8 years, not continuous, but I have to study it, because sometimes you shouldn't put two symbols besides each other because it's not correct.
I see. So you had to study the jewelry,
everything, not only in Old Egypt, in each collection I did. Because the people has to feel that I put my heart in it.
And what you're wearing tonight, that is the wings of the scarab.
Yeah.
So you take elements of the ancient and you reinterpret it.
This is actually Amina's, my daughter, you know,
Well,
and we have always, you know. No, this is Amina because she likes the modern things, and like when at the end, she convinced me to go without losing the spirit.
Well, it's very interesting because at the moment, I don't know if any of you have seen the Cartier exhibition that's on here, which is fantastic. So if you can, do get to see it. But there are so many of the Cartier scarabs, winged scarabs, that were inspired after Howard Carter found King Tutankhamun's tomb. But they're very literal. They literally are sort of copies of what Tutankhamun would have in his pectoral. But you take the idea and make something modern. a modern aesthetic.
Yes, because you can't ask people to wear what was the people in the past wearing. They have to be I have to make it modern way, or like everything, like the peasant, like everything I did.
I'm quite interested that you have the ankon as well because in ancient Egypt, it was a huge culture of protection, wasn't it, in jewelry wearing? And do you think that resonates now?
Yes, because most of the, most of the jewelry in Egypt is amuletic jewelry, because the people wear it for protection, like the eye, like the blue, like everything. Not speaking about European, because the middle class in Egypt, they are wearing European copies. I'm not speaking about that. I'm speaking about the Egyptian jewelry. Most of them, they are amuletic jewelry.
And do you think people come in now? Fatma, have you noticed young people coming in wanting ankhs, wanting protection in the world right now?
I think definitely people today are looking for pieces with meaning. I'm not sure if protection is, some people want protection, but I think the main driver is a story and a piece they connect to. And we see it into people walking into stores and saying, I want that ring that says happiness because, I'm going to wear it every day and it's sort of like a mantra to me. Or I want the eye because I feel like it protects me. So there's definitely the element of that connection and that story. Protection is at the core of it, but other messages as well. I think love is a very big driver in what makes people connect and buy our pieces, and different messages.
And Arab proverbs and wisdom proverbs.
I saw a lovely bracelet in the store. What was the proverb of that? It was a Sufi one.
The one with the emeralds, the high jewelry one.
Yes.
I think that one said, yes, if you're not my eye, then you're its light, and if you're not my heart, you are my love. It doesn't translate well to English, but...
But it looks beautiful. You have no idea that it's writing.
Yes.
And it's just like a beautiful pattern, but it makes this very special.
And it looks like lace. If you can't read Arabic, it looks like lace.
Because the Arabic calligraphy is one of the art in the Islamic art. Because, in a lot of periods, they don't draw figures. They concentrate on the calligraphy.
But what I want to know, Azza, is how you began and where this passion came from. How did you discover this passion for jewelry?
I think I'm a seeker. I'm a seeker. I look for it, and I dig for everything I want. And at the end, because I try many things in my life and it doesn't work, and then I found the book which changed my life. And
so what was that book? What was that book?
It was a German book about medieval jewelry in Europe.
So at the time you were working you'd studied fine arts.
Yes, I studied fine arts and work in the government, but I feel this is not as an interior designer, and I was good, but it wasn't enough for me. I feel there's something around the world which is better than this for me.
And so where did you see this book?
In the first international book fair in Cairo in the late 60s. And I think it was meant before, because I didn't know any German. I went to the German section, I don't know why. I entered the German sections, and I went to the third, I remember it till now, the third row, and then the third row up, I pull a book and I open it, and it was there, the jewelry. It never came to my mind it will be the jewelry, because at that time, no jewelers in Egypt. They are imported for the middle class, imported European jewelry.
But so there were artisans making pieces,
copying, not making. They never create. They create the traditional jewelry in Egypt.
Okay.
But I mean, they copying what's Italian do, what's the French do, what is they always look to the upper class what they are wearing. They like to imitate the upper class.
So you opened this book, you saw some medieval jewelry.
Yes.
And
no, I found a way. I said, like Newton, when he said, I found it. Yes,
Eureka.
I found it. Yes, I found it. It never came to my mind it will be the jewelry.
So then what did you do?
Yes, and they started, because I don't want to design and give the sketches to another one. I want to do it myself, because there is a big difference.
So you wanted to handcraft yourself?
Of course. If you don't know the handicrafts, you will not have the perfect piece.
So how did you go about that?
I stay in Khan Khalili 2 years, because I don't have the money to go to study in England. And then I work.
So you worked in the bazaar?
In the bazaar, but I sell to the people, journalists, intellectuals, things, because my pieces was different. Very primitive, but there is something, it was different. And then coming, because in that time it was Nasser period, no books in the market, and my friends coming from Europe carrying jewelry box and said, I want to do that. What's this? And what's this? And what's this? And my mind became better than my hand. My design became better than my hand.
Okay.
And
so what did your parents think? You'd got this good job in government and you gave it up to go and work in the bazaar.
No, my mother said, are you crazy? You are an interior designer and you go to work in the Khan Khalil, in the bazaar. But when I see things, I go. I believe.
Okay, so they were then happy for you?
No, when I became famous.
That's one way to get your mother around.
Yes.
So then you kept working, and then did you get a scholarship to come and study in London?
Because my design's better than my hand, and my master in the bazaar didn't know how to design, and the manager of the British Council in Egypt was a friend of mine with his wife, and I was having dinner with them, and he said, I think I need to study, I need to elevate my education. And he didn't answer. In 6 months, he called me, Azza, come to my office. And then he gave me a grant. I was crying.
And where did you study when you came to London?
London.
Oh, Azza's overcome at the thought of it, that kind gesture changed your life.
Yes.
It's incredible.
Yes. City of London Polytechnic.
City of London Polytechnic. And that you were here, what, for 2 years?
For 2 years, but I did in 2 years what can student do it in 4 years. And the dean wrote to the British
Council.
Manager of
the manager of the British Council.
He never saw before a student. She wants an eager to have, because I have only 2 years and I have to finish it all. I have to finish all the courses, and I finished in 2 years. I enter in the morning when it is dark, and I go out to the house when it's dark.
So you were obsessed?
I said, you can call it obsessed, or you can call it love, or you can call it passion, or I don't know.
So you did that, and then you used to come here quite a lot.
This place is something for me.
Yes, so the V&A played an important role.
It's something for me, because whenever I enter, I found something new. In crafts, how this prince collect all these pieces to help the crafts, whatever, to put crafts with المبدعين يعني.
Creatives.
The creative people.
Yes.
It's amazing. Yani I came to London at least 100 times, and I don't remember every time I'm in London, I have to visit this place because it gives me something.
Was there a particular part of the museum that you preferred or that you used to go?
Sometimes I like to very often to see the jewelry section. And sometimes I'm interested in ironwork. The ironwork is beautiful here. And the silverware and things like that. All the crafts that are amazing.
So then you returned to Egypt and you began your brand. You began to
I didn't brand. I was progressed. I didn't brand. This lady has yes, this lady has, yes, because I work. I always work hard. And one day she said, Mommy, I think this is a brand. We have to take it. No, I don't want a brand. You make it a brand. I'm going to work. But this is her work.
But at that time you were working, and you were a single mother with 2 young children, Amina, who can't be here tonight, but is your design director. And how did you manage that?
I can't say. When I wrote my book, my memoir, really, I say how I did it. I don't know.
It sounded like you took them around everywhere.
I don't want this word, it was a nightmare, but a nice nightmare.
Phew.
Really, because I have to be a good mother, and I have to be clever in schools, and I have to take care of my work, and I don't like to eat anything. The food has to be good. I have a cook, of course. Everything has, and I have to.
Okay, we're not feeling so sorry for you now.
And in the beginning, I was preparing materials for the workshop. So I go to the bazaar and prepare the wire and the sheets and everything. I did everything.
And you took your daughters everywhere with you?
No, I took my daughter when I was traveling, because Egypt became like that. And then I want to see Nubia, I want to see the oasis, and they are small, so I carry them with me. And of course, when they see me, they learn. Amina was in Birmingham, and in the first, she has a history of...
Amina did her bachelor's degree in University of Central England in Birmingham.
And the professor, she put a nose ring, and she said, this is an earring from the desert. She said, no, it's a nose ring. Because she saw me buying this in the oasis, buying this nose ring. But I mean, they grow up in that, organically.
Oops, sorry, I've dropped.
Organically. Which is very good. And this is the old system in Ottoman Empire, because the master, he let his sons working with him.
It's a good way to learn.
Yeah.
But so I think you called them your assistants. So she put you to kind of work young, and off you went. And you were traveling a lot to absorb these other cultures.
Because I'm always curious, what's the other doing? I mean, about the traditional jewelry. India, of course. India and North Africa was the 2 places which I have to study very well.
So you spent a lot of time in India, your second home.
I went at least 50 times to India. 50 times to India.
And which part of India particularly?
No, I go to Delhi, I go to the Himalayan for my relaxation, but I have a connection with all the top collectors of all jewelry in India. Because now people, they don't have the jewelry. You have to go to the collectors to see the good pieces.
Was it what particularly inspired you? What do you love about India? Is it the temples, the food, the landscape?
No, I think
architecture.
No, I think they are a colorful country. I like especially Rajasthan. They are all the colors, and the way they do the jewelry. They wear jewelry here, 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 in every piece of the body.
So
and it's a functional jewelry. It's an amuletic jewelry.
So everything
And
has
yes,
a purpose.
and you know, sometimes, you know, my friends, they are experts in that. They said even the
anklet.
the anklets, the noise of the anklets, when the woman enter, they know that if she's an old lady or she's because they change the numbers of dangling things for this making a noise and the other one doesn't make a noise.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you remember these experiences,
Yes,
Fatma?
yes,
And what was it
definitely.
like traveling with your mother? Did you get any rest, or were you on the move the whole time?
No rest, no.
No rest.
No,
It
but
was a torture when we came to London. Mommy, please, don't want to go to museums. Please, Mommy.
because we were 8 and we had to go to the V&A every time. And I remember a few years later when we were a bit older, when we could go out on our own in London, and she'd say, no, but you won't spend the whole day just doing nothing. I need to see museum tickets. And so we tried to figure out ways where we'd come in, buy the ticket and go out, and then she figured it out and she'd say, no, so what was the exhibition on today? And we're like, okay, so now we have to actually go see the exhibitions.
So were there museums in other countries that you enjoyed seeing? Are there any sort of memories that are very strong for you?
I don't think it was just about the museums, but it was about all these trips. And I remember when you were talking about India, I mean, sitting in Delhi in some of those rooms where people are bringing out insane stuff, you know? I mean,
The numbers of antique jewelry.
of everything, of jewelry and of rugs and of old silverware. And so I think it's all these memories of these places. And I mean, my friends were not going to India when we were young, you know what I mean? It wasn't or going to the Western desert, camping and sitting in villages and watching. So I think these are the memories we have.
And so were you picking up ideas and looking at the different ways other cultures created jewelry? Was it the different ways of craftsmanship?
Of course,
Yes.
you know, I'm interested now because I'm studying, I'm a researcher, so I'm studying how they connect this piece with this piece. And I know Central Asia, they connected different ways from Tunisia. But actually, I melted everything. I use all these techniques in my jewelry.
You do?
Yes, because I know stone setting, I know connection, I know how things moving, I know everything.
Did you make a big collection yourself, buying pieces in different places?
Because I bought because I want to study it, and I published my first book about traditional jewelry. It's all my
Private collection.
Private collection. Now I'm writing a book about Ottoman.
And what is it about the Ottoman culture that you love?
Because, you know, in that time, the middle class and the upper middle class, the only piece which they are wearing the same was the Ottoman or the European. And strangely enough, that these pieces, it was all over the Arab world. I found the same earring in Iraq. I found the same pieces in the earring in Libya. I found in Palestine, in Jordan, exactly.
And what was that? What design was it?
It was, of course, it's a mix of part of it's European, Victoria, the setting especially, but the Ottomans, a lot of them taking the inspiration from the pottery, al-khazaf, the pottery.
Ceramics.
The ceramic.
Okay.
Yes, this round things with
The
flowers and tulip and things like that.
And I think you said to me that you noticed filigree being done just slightly differently all around the world in different cultures.
Yeah, I'm interested now in filigree.
Okay.
I hope I have the time to write a book about filigree. Because, yes, because, you know, it's really, I found in Portugal they do filigree. The Mamluk have filigree. Italian have filigree. I found pieces in Ponto Vecchio, and all pieces from Genoa.
Who do you think did filigree the best? Who were the master craftsmen at filigree? Etruscans?
No. I think the people of Syria, Aleppo or Damascus. You know, the way they, and the Russians, they have beautiful filigree. And they do it in layers, in forms, because our filigree is flat. But the Russian, they do it in forms.
And so have you got a particular collection that is inspired by all this filigree?
No.
But it's one of our core techniques. I mean, it's one of the techniques we preserve. We have the best masters of filigree at our workshops. And it's in a lot of our pieces. So it's something we really try to highlight because it's very unique and it's very special.
Yes.
And I think Azza's, I mean, you've developed filigree. We didn't just use it
and
as
I get, from all over the world.
She sort of blended it and created our own, we have our own way that we make filigree.
And we have, we have a section training in the factory for training new generation on the filigree, on all techniques.
So part of it is coming back with these ideas and then creating
in a
something
modern way.
new.
Exactly.
In a modern way, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
And any other, you went to Mexico a lot? What did you find in Mexico?
No, I think, I said, I can't leave this world without seeing Mexico. Because I traveled to Mexico, it was fantastic, this colorful city, beautiful, and the handicrafts, it's around. And then I said, I'm near Guatemala and don't think I'll be able to come to this because I travel, I think, 24 hours by plane to go to Mexico, running from this and this. And then I jump to Guatemala to see the embroidery and then jump again to Mexico to see Oaxaca and this, yes, beautiful.
So do you sit down with the artisans? Do you,
of course.
Do you use their tools? Do you bring tools back with you?
This is my interest and I know how they do it. Because I work with my hand.
Right. But do you have to have their tools to recreate it?
No, I don't engrave woodwork, but I'm interested in crafts. It fascinates me, using the hands.
So the Ottoman research you've done, that will come out in a book.
Yeah.
And that is telling the stories of these people as well as the jewelry.
No, it's telling who was the main people who work in doing Ottoman, like the Armenian. The Armenian was the main people in Egypt doing, and also in Aleppo, because I went to Aleppo and also in Damascus, and there were only the best masters were the Armenian. And I didn't find in Istanbul, actually, at all. All in the bazaar was old pieces, antique pieces. Nobody cared about old pieces, and nobody revive it because you have to have an artist to develop this to something new for people to.
And so you're preserving those as well, because you're writing about it.
I'm writing and then I use it in my designs as well, both.
I think you said to me that in Istanbul, because it was considered a craft, not an art,
yes,
that it hadn't been preserved.
Yes, because people look at the craftspeople in a low, بنظرة دونية.
I mean, not as equals, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're not.
But in Egypt, when they sent me here to England and I returned back and I start my time, all the jewelers, they send their children to Europe and they are proud. They are designers.
So
there is a shift.
And it's harking back to ancient Egypt, because craftspeople then were really treated well and considered the equal of everybody, and weren't they?
Sometimes they get amazed. The mask of King Tut. When I see it as a technician, there's no solder in it. How do you make this? How do you cast this in 3,000 years old? Perfect. The craftsmanship was very high, very high. I think there was unusual people these people. No, really.
And
really.
they were encouraged, they were treated, as I say, very well. I mean, I saw one part of the Nile where they would all go and practice, as you say, some of these arts and carving, and all the family would come, and it would almost be a holiday, and everybody would eat well, and live well, and the wisdom, the wisdom they have. Is there a culture?
It's a civilization. It's a great civilization.
Yes. Is there a culture that you haven't explored? Is there a place you haven't seen yet, Azza, that you would like to go?
Part of Asian techniques. But now I'm getting old. I don't want to travel a long time to see a new technique, which is now I have a school in Cairo, which we can bring these experts to my school and teach us that.
So you don't have to run around the world, you bring the world to you.
At all. I have 6,000 books about jewelry in different times, but it's all around me. Whenever I think of something, tack.
So what is the Asian technique that you would like to master?
I like to combine all techniques. Like I like granulation, I like filigree. I like, we have, I don't want the name in Arabic because people, they will not know. But I like, we all, in Azza Fahmy jewelry, we put this as a, Fatma?
This is one of our core values.
Core values.
Core values.
Yeah.
That's the CEO talking.
Yeah.
I'm interested too that, that you work with your daughters and how that process works, because I don't know if there are many people in this room who could work with their mothers. I think it would be quite testing. And I'm just thinking, when you have an idea, you say, right, we're going to look at this new filigree technique that I've come up with, and Amina is sitting with you to design. How does that design process work? Do you work together?
In the beginning, because she was in Alchemia, it's a contemporary jewelry in Firenze, and then she went for 6 years in Birmingham, and she came back with the modern jewelry. And I'm in the traditional jewelry. So we have this conflict. Mommy, you have to see the modern one. Look how the Japanese do the jewelry. The Japanese. And then, at the end, now, she started interested in, sometimes she said, Mommy, I have a problem of connecting this and this. Then I look in the Indonesian, these tribes in Indonesia, how they connect their pieces. Carol, I feel I succeed. I grab her leg. Yes. Yes. Yes.
So, but do you have disagreements? And if you have...
now she is, no, she's very tough.
But you have disagreements all the time. I think that's area here is part of the disagreements. I think it's part of the creative process.
Yeah.
You disagree a lot, and that's what makes it...
But I don't think we disagree.
It's not, maybe you don't call it disagreement, but it's like this creative tension.
Sounds like one.
Yeah.
And do you leave it in the workshop, or does it go home with you?
No, we stop.
You stop?
No,
Okay.
because when we live together, 3 of us,
we will
bring the work to the house and say, stop that.
Yes.
That's what's in the house as a family, not in that the work.
It's a process.
And you've done quite a few fashion collaborations, haven't you? Is that your daughter's influence?
Yes. No, I think for us it was a way to... I think when we joined, I joined before Amina, and then Amina joined. For us, we felt like there was so much that we wanted to say beyond where we were. It's like we wanted to paint on a broader canvas. We wanted to sort of get out of where we were. And coming to London at the beginning, it was like, how do we do this? And how do we... And I don't know how it came about, but we said, fashion collaborations are a great way to sort of show off your design capabilities but work with someone. And that process, I think, would be great for the both of us. And that's how it started. So the first collaboration we did was here in London in 2006 with Julian MacDonald. And that was amazing because it's very uncomfortable for them to work with another designer with very different timelines, with a completely different calendar, and it's very stressful, but I think that kind of tension brings out a beautiful creation. Yeah. And so I think sort of we got
and
hooked
both
on.
learn from each other.
Yes, definitely.
It's
and
an experience.
That process I think we loved, and then we went on to other fashion collaborations, and then
you did one with Palma.
Yes.
For the runway.
Yes, that was the most recent. It was that was a very interesting one because they had part of their collection was inspired by ancient Egypt, and they had that theme. And they basically sent us one visual of a pendant of the Ptolemaic eye of Horus. And they wanted it as a bust.
Enlarge it.
Enlarged as a big bust.
As a sort of corset.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So that was an amazing experience because it was very challenging. And what Azza and Amina did is they said, you know, fine, that's the sort of the front of it, but then what happens on the sides? And they continued the whole story. I mean, with the details, they put the wings on the sides and then the scarab dangling in the back. And it was this whole, again, story from ancient Egypt on this bust that's showing in Paris, you know? So it was...
and where is it now? Where is the bust now?
It's at the Young V&A now showing.
Oh, it's now at the V&A,
yes. With the exhibition about Egypt they have, so it's really nice that we have it here.
Yes. And so does that bring younger people to Azza Fahmy? Is it a challenge to do these fashion collaborations, or is it to reach different audiences?
It's a combination of everything. It's if Amina was here, she's going to say she loves them because they challenge her as a designer. And I think Azza agrees. For me, if I'm putting the sort of the marketing and commercial hat on, it's reaching a different audience. It's stepping out of our comfort zone and doing something that we don't do every day, which I think grows all of us, each and every one of us.
And does the way young women dress influence the design as well? Is she very aware of fashion when she designs?
Yes and no. So I want to say that at the core of what we do, we're not influenced by fashion, and our pieces are very timeless.
And do you think that girls are wearing it in the same way, East and West? Or is there a difference?
Honestly, today, Carol, I don't see a difference between East and West. I feel like with social media and with the way people are traveling, at least in our client base, it's not East and West, but it's characters. So you find the woman that wants the very dainty gold piece that just says the words, you know, happiness, and then you find someone else that's stacking 10 pieces together and very statement-like. But I don't think today we look at our clients geographically anymore. It's more of lifestyles
and sort of comfort. So it's luxury that has to be comfortable, that people can wear.
Very much, yes. Very much. I mean, Azza and Amin are very big on practicality. I mean, my mother always says, I hate designers that don't think of practicality.
Yeah.
Wearing a piece, you know, an earring that's too heavy that you need to take off, or...
And we try it in the factory, you know, we wear it and try and see it and walk with it and see it.
And Amina says, you know, let the girls wear them and type on the computers. And because you need to be able to live your life with these pieces.
Of course.
So how many craftsmen do you have?
Today we're a team of over 320. I'd say around 60 is in the workshop, the craftsmanship top section. And amazing. I mean, that's a very big part of our focus. And we follow the Ottoman system, like Azza was saying. So you have the master, and he has his trainees under him, and they sort of grow into the hierarchy. And so, yeah, it's a big team now.
And you're starting high jewelry as well. You've gone into high jewelry.
Yes, this is her idea.
Not sure I'm coming up with great ideas, but...
Because I think it's about time we master everything.
Yes.
Else, why not?
Yes.
Why not? It's the same way. It's the same way.
It's just going into a new adventure, and I think it gives them room to explore another area that's within jewelry, but a very different space.
And it's not just your daughters that you've been encouraging into the jewelry industry, because you mentioned you have this school now in Cairo.
Yes.
And could you tell us about the school and what that is doing?
Because I found that maybe in that time when the British, they gave me the grant, I didn't have the money. Maybe there are a lot of talented in Egypt which they don't have this and maybe the British will not support us. We open our school for these people who wants to be jewelers.
And what's it called?
The Design Studio by Azza Fahmy.
Okay.
But I think for us also, Carol, it was, I mean, both Amina and my mother had to travel to Europe to get an education, which is, again, not accessible for everyone.
Yes.
And we feel that the ecosystem is not there.
Yeah.
I mean, when my mother started, obviously, but even when Amina and I joined, we're very alone. And so creating that whole ecosystem was very important. And Azza always says you have the school, the design school that teaches design, but then you have the foundation that teaches craftsmanship. Because the designer needs the craftsman, and the craftsman needs the designer.
A designer without a craftsman.
And so you sponsor the young people to come to this?
Yes, yes.
So it's a complete philanthropic experience here.
Yes.
But the school, the school is...
No, not the school.
Not the school, the foundation.
The
foundation is fully funded, and it's...
And work in Aswan, far on the border to Sudan, on the Red Sea, with the tribes, and helping these people.
That's amazing. Yeah. And how many people do you have in the foundation?
We just graduated. We had our Aswan project, because we have different projects. Our latest was the Aswan project. We graduated 80 women.
Wow.
That had
180. 180 women.
That did a 2-year program.
In 3 years. And they are jewelers in the market. Can you imagine? Aswan is a very conservative society, and nobody work outside.
Might you tell her the story about the girl that her parents didn't want her to join?
Yes, because when they asked me, because we are finishing the project, and I have to go because the governor will give a talk, and I have to give a talk. And then I asked the girls, what's your family opinion about your work? Because they are very conservative. They said in the beginning when we were sketching, they were burning the sketches and cut the sketches and beat us to stay home. And then I told her what's happened. I said, we insist, and we went to the school. In 3 years, the father and the brother helping and then in marketing. Can you imagine?
Fantastic.
It's a change in the society. In the society.
So your school and foundation is doing much more than what it sets out to do.
CSR,
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's beyond that. It's really because we needed that, and Azza needed that, and Amina needed that. And we need it as an organization. I mean, I need to be able to hire designers and and the whole industry needs to flourish.
So there'll be a new generation of designers and crafts.
Hopefully.
Hope so. We need it in our country. We need it.
And you need employment there too. People need employment, don't you?
Sure. And we believe in the creative side of things. I mean,
creative industry or orange industry. They call it now orange industry.
And so what's next for you, Azza? Are you jumping on a plane anytime soon? Are you off somewhere?
No.
She is. You are jumping on a plane in 2 days to Abu Dhabi.
No.
Where is she off to?
No. I have a lecture on the opening of the International Book
Abu
Fair.
Dhabi Book Fair.
Yeah. So they asked me to but no, that's not. Not jumping to see things. No,
So what is the next challenge?
My next challenge is I want this information which I collect for 55 years to keep it in a scientific way and transfer it to the new generation. I'm working on my archive.
Archive of pieces and books?
No, archive of everything. The crafts, crafts which consider my work. Metal, techniques, yes, everything.
Books, collections.
And أبحاث يعني.
Research,
which is people do research. I have everything because I travel a lot in conferences about that. I have everything. But everything will be available for the people. If somebody in America wants to see what's going on, he goes to this.
So you're putting that into order.
Yes.
For the future.
Now I'm working for 4 years, and I think we have another 2 or 3 years to finish the archive.
Gosh. And so that will be your legacy?
Yes, I think so. I think so.
And I just wanted to know, before we ask people what questions I'd like to ask you, would you want to be remembered as a great artisan jewelry maker or an Egyptian artisan jewelry maker?
I want people to say there was a woman, Egyptian woman, who loved her country and let the whole world knows about Egyptian jewelry.
Through your jewelry?
Yeah.
Because you are the window to the past.
Yes.
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 Well, Azza, thank you for sharing that. Now we are going to see in the audience, I'm sure lots of people want to hear from you.
Thank you so much. If you'd like to ask any questions, please raise your hands.
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah. Good evening. My name is Mala Shamtani. I'm one of the lecturers at London College of Fashion, and I had the privilege to come to Cairo with Yasmin's invite in 2019, and I taught at your school, which was wonderful. And I wanted to ask, as a teacher, as an academic, do you have any advice for the young generation of jewelers out there?
What kind of advice
Any kind of advice you would like to give them?
How would they start? What should they do?
You have to work hard, and if you sometimes feel that you fail, I mean, you have to continue. Always continue till you get it. Till you get it. And I think this is the advice. And always be...
I think you always learn, Ev. That's part of very much what you do, is you say you need to continuously learn.
Yeah.
You don't stop learning, because that's something that bothers you, that someone, does 2 years and says, I'm this. And I mean, Azza takes classes until today, and I think that's...
She's still taking classes.
She does. She's always eager to learn a new technique, like she's telling you, I mean.
Yeah. Because I feel that it's not enough. I always feel that it's not enough. There is more, there's more, there's more.
So that's inspiring for them. Keep working.
Keep working.
I think maybe on Thursday, when you come to the Young V&A, I will have my students there, because we are taking over a part of the museum. I would like you to tell that to them in person. Because this is something I say to my classes every day, but I think to listen to someone of your, design background and your amazing heritage will mean a lot to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the talk. I am Dina. Coincidentally, I'm also an academic in luxury brand management. I have 2 questions. Something that came a lot during the talk is the role of artisan and craftsmanship. And I'm glad you're making such a great social impact. But my question is, with the next wave of technological innovations and the role of AI and 3D printing, do you see this might change or transform design or the role of craftsmanship in luxury jewelry? And my second question is about democratized luxury. You extended your brand by offering a higher end jewelry line. So would you also consider offering what we call democratized or a more accessible luxury to cater to younger generation or different segments? Thank you.
I think answering your first question, I'm sure AI and technology will have a great impact on supporting and enhancing the process, but I personally don't think that it will take away the human. I don't think it will. There will always be a difference, and you see that today in a very simpler way with a handmade piece and a machine-made piece. Yeah. They're different, they're not the same. A handmade piece has a lot more soul and all these imperfections really matter. I mean, what I'm saying could be completely wrong.
I like this Japanese when say the perfection of the imperfection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and answering your second question, it's something we always discuss, and we make sure that our collections always have that sort of range in terms of price point, because it's not about alienating anyone,
Great, we've got one here at the top left.
Thank you. My name is Ahmed El-Sragi. I'm a professor of architecture. I was very lucky. I'm Egyptian. I've lived in the UK for the last 25 years. And now back to Egypt. I was very lucky to meet Azza one-to-one in her studio recently. I have one reflection and one dream, actually, or aim for what's next for Azza. The reflection and the connection, the reflection and the comments is, I feel it's quite difficult to build the trust between designers and craftsmen and execution. And I think, Azza, you succeeded in this. So if you can elaborate more on how you can build trust, because as you said, this is a lack of trust, particularly in Egypt, is not very easy to build this trust between execution and those who can be a craftsman and the designers. There is kind of lack of trust. So how you helped that they complement each other rather than they compete or they hide things. Because I felt in some of the tradition that handicraft in Egypt, that they feel that the designers are coming to take their tradition. And I heard you once said in Arabic, تجدد أو تبدد, which is if you can't modernize, if you can't get a designer, you will never sustain your handicraft. So how you see the secret behind answering this. And then the dream is how you see yourself and foundation working with higher education, working with universities. I lead in one of the art and design in Cairo, schools in Cairo, and I see that your foundation and the legacy that you created deserve and should be preserved, and working hand in hand in one of the higher education universities in more collaboration. Thank you so much.
Really, Dr. Ahmed, I don't see the conflict between craftspeople and designers, because we have in our factory craftspeople and we have a department of design. We don't have any conflicts. Maybe when you don't have this form, maybe if I'm a lady which I designed something and I went to the bazaar and tell the man, please do it for me, this will be a conflict. But I think if you build this, there's no conflict at all. Bilaks, we complement each other. I am the brain and he is the hand. But there's no conflict. مش كده فاطمة؟
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And what was the other
saying
question?
The dream of incorporating the work of the foundation and the school with higher education.
It depends on the higher education of the universities and the things. We are working and
we're trying and we're
already
connecting.
associated with the American University in Cairo.
That's one of the programs.
Yes.
Exactly.
But it was a program. Yes, it was a program.
But that's part of our vision, ultimately, is to connect to higher education and to even schools, high schools, where you can introduce crafts at the level of high schools.
Yeah.
Great, I think
Another question here? Oh, sorry, there's one there
one
first.
last question, and then we can hopefully continue questions downstairs over drinks.
I hope it's a good one. I'm neither Egyptian nor academic. Carol, thank you for your moderation. You have enough charisma to fill this entire building. It's wonderful listening to you. Your audience is dominated by women. And I wonder, in all of the women you've ever served, are there common characteristics, common values that emerge from those women who appreciate everything that you design and create?
Fatma, yalla anti go.
She's lost for words for a second.
I think, again, there is and there isn't. So I think women that wear Azza Fahmy, I don't want to say are generally interesting women, but women that don't just want to follow trends or be wearing, the next big brand that someone else is wearing. It's someone that wants something that they really connect to and something that has a message. And I want to go back to Carol's introduction when she said intellectual jewelry. It's someone that has interest and depth. They're very, very different. They're from different parts of the world. But honestly, most of them are people I can have a conversation with. I don't know if that defines a woman, but.
And I'll tell you something else. Sometimes a lot of people, they buy things which they send a message for them. And she called me, and sometimes they are friends, I said, sometimes when I feel like that in the morning, and the wife said, I wear happiness, and I'm happy. You know, really. And every piece has a message. And a lot of these things, like if God closes a door, he opens.
One door closes, 1,000 open, and all these different words of affirmation that.
It is.
Well, personally, I like to think that, you know, in years to come, people will come across treasure troves of Azza's jewelry just as they have of the ancient Egyptians. And that will speak not only about her, but all the women who've worn her jewelry. And thank you so much for sharing it with us.
Thank you. This was
amazing. And we'll all go downstairs.
Thank you so much. Please do join us downstairs for the wine reception.